My beloved child, Archangel Michael says a powerful shift was released the moment those words left your lips. The air around you moved with an unseen force as if something ancient awakened quietly. A presence surrounded the situation before anyone understood what was unfolding. You felt a sudden rise within yourself as if your spirit stepped forward before your body did. The vibration in the room shifted sharply, creating a silent tension that made every heart pause. Nothing loud happened, yet everything inside the moment became louder in energy. The person standing before you didn't expect your voice to carry such clarity. They felt a wave passing through their chest as if every hidden intention they carried was suddenly exposed. Their breath changed, their eyes widened, and confusion unfolded inside them. For so long, they believed you were unaware of their motives. For so long, they assumed you would stay silent and soft forever. But your spirit had risen beyond the version of you they once knew. Type Amen to claim blessing 333. A quiet force moved around your words like a shield forming itself. Something divine whispered behind you, lifting your confidence without making you realize. You weren't trying to shock anyone, yet truth tends to shake those who hide behind shadows. The person felt their own thoughts turning against them. They felt your presence expanding in ways they had never sensed before. Nothing you said was meant to harm them, but the truth carries weight that many cannot hold. Divine light began to unfold inside you slowly. A calm strength followed your voice, making your words impossible to ignore. It wasn't the volume that shocked them, it was the truth wrapped in purity. You stepped into an energy that didn't belong to your past at all. This energy belonged to a higher version of you that had been waiting to rise. Every force that underestimated you started trembling under its own illusions. Type Amen to activate blessing 111. Your spirit reached a level where lies cannot survive. Your voice carried an alignment that made every false intention lose balance. This person who once felt superior suddenly felt exposed in front of your authenticity. Their shoulders dropped slightly when they realized they couldn't hide anymore. Their inner world shook as your energy revealed parts of them they never wanted anyone to see. The shock wasn't because you threatened them, the shock was because you awakened truth inside them. Your silence had always been misread as weakness. Your patience had always been misread as surrender. But today, the universe opened a new door through your courage, and the person standing before you felt it deeply. Your presence began to stretch like sunlight cutting through a forgotten corner. Something divine stood beside you, making the moment feel larger than life. That person didn't just hear you, they felt you. Type Amen to receive blessing 444. Inside their reaction, a hidden fear rose quietly. They weren't afraid of you, they were afraid of your awakening. They weren't shaken by your words, they were shaken by your spirit. They realized they had underestimated the wrong soul. Every energy that once tried to restrict your path trembled. Every intention that tried to overpower you suddenly collapsed under its own weight. And the stunned look in their eyes confirmed that the universe had shifted in your favor. You didn't plan the moment, yet destiny guided every second. You didn't choose to stand strong, strength chose you. The situation turned into divine alignment before anyone could interfere. Your aura began to stretch with a higher tone. Something about the way you spoke carried a sense of completion. It felt like the end of an old cycle that refused to break earlier finally fell apart inside this single moment. The stunned silence around you was a sign that spiritual power had entered the room. They felt something around you that looked invisible yet felt undeniable. A divine force wrapped your energy, making your truth impossible to challenge. And now, destiny is moving the next chapter into your hands. Type Amen to claim blessing 222. The moment continued stretching in a slow wave as if time itself paused to witness what had unfolded. Your spirit rose in a way that carried the weight of everything you have survived. The universe was speaking through you without any effort from your side, and the person in front of you felt it deeply. Their heartbeat changed pace as if their mind was struggling to keep up with the energy shift. They had never expected you to stand with such a grounded presence. They suddenly realized that every assumption they had about you no longer matched the soul now standing before them. The air around you thickened with divine intensity. The light inside you grew stronger and made everything unclear in their intentions become sharp. Your presence exposed the thin line between their truth and their hidden motives. Type Amen to receive blessing 999. They wanted to respond, but their voice felt blocked by their own guilt. They felt every word they once used against you coming back to them silently. They realized that you didn't rise to challenge them, you rose to honor who you truly are. Your energy formed a shield so powerful that it made their confidence fall apart. They felt small in front of the very person they once tried to control. The universe had shifted the balance in a single moment, making it clear that the power now belonged to you. As they stood there speechless, you felt a calm strength settling into your spirit. You didn't feel anger or fear, you felt liberation. That moment wasn't a confrontation, it was a transformation, and they were stunned because they didn't expect you to transform in their presence. Every emotion inside you aligned with divine timing. Every word you spoke carried the weight of truth without force. It felt like destiny had prepared this moment long before you arrived. Type Amen to unlock blessing 333. The person tried to hide their reaction, but energy doesn't lie. Their thoughts raced quickly, searching for explanations they couldn't find. They felt exposed in a way they had never experienced before, and the shock inside their chest made their pulse unsteady. Your spirit had outgrown their expectations. It had outgrown their limitations. It had outgrown every false label placed on you. They realized that the version of you they tried to understand no longer existed. As they watched you, they sensed a power that didn't belong to human strength alone. It was something divine that stood with you, something that protected you, something that made your presence unshakable. Their mind tried to deny it, but their soul felt it fully. They never imagined that your silence was preparation. They never imagined your patience was strength. They never imagined that the light within you would rise like this at the perfect moment. Type Amen to receive blessing 777. The room felt different as your energy filled every corner. Every shadow that once followed you felt weaker in your presence. The universe created a boundary that they could no longer cross. The person finally understood that your spirit was not something to provoke. Your voice wasn't something to underestimate. Your destiny wasn't something they could interfere with. They realized the truth: you were being guided by a power far beyond their reach. You felt your heart elevating with a strange calmness. Instead of chaos, you felt clarity. Instead of fear, you felt purpose. Instead of hesitation, you felt certainty. Your soul had shifted into its rightful place. As you stood there, your energy began to expand even more. The moment became a turning point that will echo into the next chapters of your life. Nobody expected you to step into your divine power so naturally. Nobody expected your spirit to rise exactly when it was needed. Type Amen to claim blessing 111. The person's reaction became a mirror reflecting your growth. Their shock wasn't just about what you said, it was about who you have become. They saw strength where they used to see softness. They saw confidence where they once saw doubt. They saw purpose where they once assumed uncertainty. Every part of them understood that they could no longer approach you the way they used to. The balance had shifted in your favor. The moment had crowned you with a new identity, one that destiny had prepared in silence. A deep spiritual alignment wrapped itself around you. You felt it in your chest, in your breath, in the air. Something divine was whispering your name in protection and strength. They sensed it too, and their stunned reaction came from recognizing that you were no longer someone they could overlook. You were evolving into a stronger version of yourself, a version that holds divine authority. And the universe was making sure everyone around you could see it clearly. Type Amen to receive blessing 444. Your breakthrough didn't come from force, it came from authenticity. It came from truth. It came from the unwavering energy that rises inside a chosen soul. The person standing before you realized that they had underestimated destiny itself by underestimating you. And now, every step you take will carry the same divine alignment that shook them in that moment. The atmosphere continued to shift as the moment deepened. Something about your presence made everything around you slow down, as if destiny wanted to emphasize every second. The person could feel their own energy collapsing under the clarity that surrounded you. Their mind tried to process what had just happened, but truth has a way of breaking through every barrier. They felt their thoughts scattering inside them, as if the universe was removing every layer of illusion they once hid behind. Your words became a mirror that reflected everything they had ignored for too long. A subtle tremor moved through their chest as they tried to stand steady. They didn't expect your voice to carry such alignment. They didn't expect your spirit to stand with such precision. They didn't expect the divine to flow through you in such a direct way. Type Amen to receive blessing 222. You felt a sensation inside you, as if something powerful had settled into your spirit. It wasn't loud or dramatic, it was silent strength. It was the kind of strength that rises when a soul is lifted into its purpose. That feeling carried you beyond the moment and into a higher version of yourself. The person finally realized the truth: you were not the same soul they once knew. You had stepped into a spiritual identity that made every hidden intention around you reveal itself. They couldn't mask their reaction, because the universe had already exposed their inner world to them. Your presence carried a new frequency that made every false intention tremble. Even their breathing changed, as if their body was responding to the divine surrounding you. They felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of your energy. A sense of realization spread through them slowly. They understood that the universe had chosen this moment to elevate you. They understood that their own actions were no longer invisible. They understood that your strength was not something they could dismiss anymore. Type Amen to claim blessing 555. You watched them in silence, not out of pride, but out of clarity. You no longer needed to argue. You no longer needed to defend yourself. Your spirit spoke louder than anything your past ever allowed. You became the kind of truth that cannot be ignored. As they continued staring at you, they felt as if the ground beneath them shifted. It wasn't your words alone that stunned them. It was the divine force that surrounded your spirit. They felt overwhelmed because they finally saw the power that was always inside you. Something divine wrapped around your aura like a protective circle. Your presence became a symbol of transformation. The universe honored your growth in front of the very person who doubted your strength. Type Amen to open blessing 999. You didn't move, but your energy moved for you. You didn't push, but the truth pushed through you. You didn't demand respect, but your spirit commanded it effortlessly. The moment became a turning point in your life's timeline. Their eyes tried to look away, but they couldn't. Something about your presence anchored their attention. Something about your energy made them confront their own intentions. Something about your truth forced them to acknowledge everything they tried to avoid. As they stood there frozen in disbelief, their own spirit whispered that they had underestimated destiny. They had misread your purpose. They had misjudged your silence. Now, all of it stood before them in a single moment of revelation. Type Amen to unlock blessing 111. Your energy began to expand in a way that made the entire atmosphere feel different. You stepped into a frequency that no one could challenge. Your spirit aligned with a divine path that had been waiting for this transition. The person's reaction grew heavier as they continued watching you. They felt as if every thought inside them was being rearranged by a higher force. The shock in their heart came from realizing that they had awakened a version of you they never expected to face. You carried yourself with a calm that wasn't human. It was spiritual. It was cosmic. It was destiny revealing itself through you. Everything about the moment carried divine timing and sacred purpose. Type Amen to invite blessing 444. You stood still, but your presence towered above the situation. Your silence felt louder than any argument could ever be. Your truth echoed through the atmosphere like a wave that shook the unseen. They couldn't process how effortlessly you had shifted the entire energy. They couldn't understand how your voice carried such purity. They couldn't grasp how your presence transformed the moment into a place of divine revelation. They felt the weight of their own actions pressing down on them. They felt the truth settling into their spirit. They felt the realization that they had witnessed your spiritual transformation unfold right in front of them. This was not a moment they could control. This was not a moment they could deny. This was a moment written into your destiny long before they met you. Type Amen to receive blessing 666. The divine continued surrounding you with unwavering strength. The air itself honored your elevation. Every part of the universe supported your transformation in that one sacred moment. And the person who once doubted you felt every bit of it. The moment continued unfolding with a depth that neither of you expected. The person standing before you felt their entire world tilt as your energy expanded with divine authority. They sensed a shift that reached beyond the physical atmosphere, touching the core of their spirit. Your presence carried a glow that didn't need explanation. It was the kind of presence that came from deep healing, silent endurance, and spiritual elevation. They didn't just witness your transformation, they felt it entering their energy and rearranging the truth they tried to avoid. The shock they felt wasn't temporary, it settled deeply within them. It traveled through their mind, through their emotions, through every intention they once held. They realized that they couldn't go back to the illusion they once created around you. Type Amen to receive blessing 888. A powerful wave of stillness surrounded you, the kind that comes when destiny confirms your rise. Nothing needed to be said anymore. The universe had spoken through you. Every force that once tried to manipulate your path felt the weight of your awakening. As they stood there trembling, their spirit recognized something ancient within yours. A knowing. A strength. A clarity that came from divine alignment. They felt unprepared to face the version of you that had emerged. You held yourself without fear, without hesitation, without apology. Your transformation was not loud, yet it shook everything. Your strength didn't roar, yet it echoed through realms beyond their understanding. Your truth didn't push, yet it carried the force of 1,000 silent victories. Type Amen to activate blessing 999. The person felt exposed in your presence. Not by your words, but by the divine force standing behind them. They sensed that every mask they ever wore had finally fallen. Every illusion they tried to maintain had dissolved under the weight of your authenticity. They realized that you were being held by a power far greater than anything they could comprehend. You were rising because destiny was lifting you. You were speaking because divine alignment guided your voice. You were glowing because your spirit had stepped into its rightful identity. A storm of emotions swirled inside them, but your presence remained steady. Nothing they felt could shake the light surrounding you. Nothing they thought could affect the divine shield that protected your soul. Type Amen to claim blessing 444. Your transformation became the turning point of the entire moment. The room felt different. The atmosphere felt sacred. Even time felt slower, as if creation wanted to honor the shift happening through you. The energy around you grew stronger with every breath you took. It wasn't an energy of aggression, it was an energy of truth. It was the kind of truth that liberates you and exposes others. It was the kind of truth that cannot be hidden, ignored, or denied. The person watching you felt the rising pressure inside their own spirit. They finally understood that they had misjudged the depth of your soul. They finally realized that they had underestimated a chosen one. They finally accepted the truth that your journey was protected by something far beyond human intention. Type Amen to unlock blessing 222. Your presence became a declaration of everything you survived. Every wound. Every betrayal. Every silent battle. Every moment you stayed humble while others tried to break your spirit. All of it rose through you as strength. They saw it. They felt it. They were stunned by it. You were no longer the person they once tried to define. You had outgrown their perception. You had left the version of yourself they once knew far behind. What stood before them now was a soul that had been refined by divine timing and spiritual power. A gentle force moved through your aura, lifting you higher. It felt as if the universe was wrapping you in protection and guidance. You didn't need to speak again. Your energy had already said everything for you. Type Amen to invite blessing 333. The person felt the distance between who they thought you were and who you had become. It was not a physical distance, it was spiritual. And that distance felt impossible for them to cross. They knew the connection had shifted permanently. You were stepping into a new chapter. You were stepping away from their influence. You were stepping into the destiny that had been waiting for you. Their reaction was only the beginning of what the universe was preparing to unfold for your life. They felt powerless in the presence of your transformation. They felt humbled by the force of your truth. They felt the weight of their own decisions pressing against their spirit. And yet, all they could do was watch as your energy rose beyond their reach. The universe wasn't just lifting you, it was separating you from every force that once underestimated your soul. Type Amen to receive blessing 111. Your spirit kept rising with a steady rhythm. Something inside you had broken open and released a power you didn't even know you were carrying. It was the light of your purpose. It was the strength of your divine identity. It was the purity of your truth finally stepping into the open. And the stunned expression on their face became the final confirmation. You had outgrown their version of you. You had surpassed every limitation they placed on you. You had risen into your divine path. Now destiny is clearing your road ahead. Now blessings are aligning themselves in your favor. Now the universe is opening doors that were once closed. Nothing will stop the elevation that has begun inside your life. Nothing will interrupt the divine flow guiding your steps. Nothing will diminish the strength you carry within your spirit. Type Amen to receive the final blessing 777. Your transformation is complete. Your breakthrough has awakened. Your destiny has begun.